Okay, it's day 2 of Romford Horror Film Festival. I'm Peter, and I'm delighted to be joined by Anthony Bushman.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So you are the creator of Physcopomp.
Yes, one of the co-creators.
Mm-hmm.
Myself and then Brian K. Millard, who is the lead in this. We co-wrote it.
Yep.
I directed it, and then we shot this during the pandemic while we were quarantined, and so he and I did quite literally every role during production.
Yep.
Yeah, had a little bit more help in post as sound designer, composer, but yeah, production was just the two of us.
Yeah. So you shot it during the pandemic, so a few years ago now.
Yes.
How long did the post kind of process take?
Well, I started editing in probably, we wrapped right before Christmas of 2020. We kind of shot it over the span of a few months.
Right.
We were thankfully we're both still employed, but working remotely, so it was, kind of balancing the shoot with those. And then, as you saw in the credits, Brian unfortunately died in 2021. I was the editor, and he, as you can see, he was in every single scene.
Yep.
So I had to step away from it for several months, which is one of the reasons that things took longer to finish. Finished the edit and then went on to like the visual effects, which are all mostly like hidden effects, but the all of the texting, for instance, I had to create all those and other such things. Putting all of the Zoom calls, the video chat calls together, because we shot those with like separate feeds so that I could cut them for performance and all that. So all of those I had to put together, and then sound design and all of that, color,
Should say you've come all the way from America,
I
in
have.
case you hadn't noticed for the
Yes,
accent.
yes.
So thank you so much for coming and bringing the film to Romford. You've taken it to a few other festivals, I understand.
This is our third.
Okay. How's it been received at the other festivals? Which ones were they?
Orlando Film Festival in November was our world premiere, and then we also played at the New York City Horror Film Festival in December. Okay. We got a good reception for those.
How did you?
I can confer that in Orlando
Yeah,
it went down pretty well.
Yeah, we met in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Oh, you bumped into each other here?
Yes. Our films are playing here again. Red Diamond Cut Sunday at.
Oh right. Oh okay.
What time?
Cool.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Shorts
Nice.
Black. Go see it.
Lovely.
It's really good.
Nice recommendation. So how did you kind of choose your cast?
So, Brian and I were, we kind of had to put ourselves in it. I do not consider myself an actor at all. I don't act. I'm kind of allergic to being in front of the camera. But, in writing it, we knew we were shooting it during the pandemic. And so, we knew he was going to be the lead. And then I agreed to play a small role if we needed a second character in person. And then as we continued to write that, my role just kept growing and growing and growing as the script evolved, and I ended up being in half the damn movie, which was not the intent. And then the other folks, so this was not supposed to be my first feature. We were scheduled to go into production Friday, March 13th, 2020 on what was supposed to be our first feature. COVID happened, and we had to postpone 36 hours before. The 4 leads that were cast in that one are his sister, who does the voiceover at the end, and then the other 3 members on the Zoom calls, like his microbiology friends. So we were a couple months into the pandemic, and I just like, hey, do you guys want to hop on a Zoom call? And we did, and I pitched them this idea, and would you guys be at all interested in doing this? And we'd completely shoot it remotely. And they were all so bored. They were like, yes, absolutely. We'd be happy to.
How long did that take to film, if you like? Obviously, it's not conventional filmmaking, is it? You're
No.
doing it on a Zoom and then compiling it. and
Yeah,
stuff, but-
well, it was, on and off with our work schedule, but then also with the two of us doing everything, like some days, it would take forever just to, set up new shots, flip a room, for coverage going, pointing the other way.
Right, yeah.
Things like that normally you take for granted when you have a full crew.
Sure.
And so it took us much longer to shoot stuff than we, than what would be normal. So there were scenes that we would just shoot a single scene in a day, or in a couple cases of a long scene, we would, with a lot of coverage, we had to break over, a couple different days.
Okay.
So it was, and again, with our work schedules, it was like across months. We started shooting, I want to say early fall of 2020. After spending the summer working on the script,
Okay.
and then we wrapped right before Christmas.
Okay. When you see the film up there on the big screen, what's the proudest part of it to see? Is there a particular scene or a moment, or?
The fun answer is, so as in the very early stages of writing, Brian threw out this idea of, we're doing everything. This doesn't make any sense at all, but if we can make this happen, let's do it. Let's find a way to have a shot, single shot, where the camera moves and we are both in the shot.
Right.
Because there's no other crew. We
Okay.
are the entire crew. And so as we were writing, we composed of the shot where the garage door opens and he walks out and then the camera spins and then pushes in and I appear. So that shot, that one single shot, that's the only thing we shot that day. We probably did, 25 takes because there were so many moving parts. I had to. He started in the shot, and it was a slow push in, and then as soon as he exited frame, camera panned, and then he came back in.
Yep.
We handed it off, and I ran through the house, and then came out the other side to appear at the end of the shot. And it was so much fun to shoot. It was the hardest thing we had to shoot during this entire time, but it was. It was also a lot of fun, and he had this wild and crazy idea months and months before that, and we were actually able to kind of pull it off.
Yeah.
That's kind of the fun answer. The other thing is, Brian was my best friend,
Yeah.
and we were roommates and creative partners, and it sucks that he's never going to get to see the finished product.
Yeah.
I think he'd be proud of the work we did. And so just
Yeah. Definitely.
seeing the finished product and remembering, I have just for me personally, this kind of BTS stuff of us just being us behind the scenes, like during, our normal banter and stuff like that. And, there's a lot of that ended up in the film itself,
Okay.
which is kind of cool.
You've made something now that's going to last forever, so that's the legacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So your history of your background of filmmaking, this is your first feature. Did you make shorts before that?
First
or?
feature, yeah, I've made several shorts. I went to USC in Los Angeles for graduate film school. I got my MFA there. I've made a bunch of shorts, and Brian had made a bunch of shorts prior to this as well. When we started working together, we were trying to get a feature made. We have a couple other scripts that that we wrote together that I'm still going to try and get made. Pending financing, of course.
Yeah.
But I've done other shorts.
Okay. Did we have any audience questions? Do you mind just popping your hand up if you do? Yeah. Just give us. We haven't got a microphone, but just give us a shout.
I'm interested to know. Obviously, COVID hit, and that was probably a huge U-turn for your plans.
Yeah.
Was it kind of an immediate decision to shoot something that was pandemic themed, or did that take a while of kind of consideration?
It took a while. We were, like I said, we were 36 hours away from what was supposed to be our first feature, and that's a haunted house film, and we were shooting it was a bigger budget than this one for sure, it was a more legit budget. This one is just tiny. It was basically whatever we could afford out of our own pockets. But we were so close, and we were shooting in the house that we lived in, and so it was already half production designed when we had to postpone. So, we postponed, and on the day that everyone was supposed to be showing up and shooting, it's just the two of us sitting there alone, surrounded by this half production designed house that, the film that we were supposed to be making. And so there were a couple months of just, being depressed, and frankly bored, because, there's only so much Netflix you can watch, before we started writing a new thing. At first, no one expected it to last as long as it did, right? People thought, oh, well, a couple weeks and we'll all be back to work. And, so we were hoping postpone it and then get back to shooting that later that summer. And then as it kind of went on, we were like, it became more and more apparent that wasn't going to happen. So that's when we started, writing this. But yeah, it was a couple months later after we had to postpone.
Thank you. Anyone else? My next question is, what lesson did you learn from making this film that you'll take with you into your future projects?
Always have a crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the joke answer. There's a lot of truth to it, though, because as fun as this was, it was also exhausting. Yeah. But I do love the collaborative experience. It's the thing that I love the most about making films is collaborating with all of your department heads and things like that. There was a lot in the writing. I think the script was solid, but there were definitely things that getting in the editing room, I cut because it was unnecessary. We hit the same beat a couple times, and things like that that I'm definitely going to take into my next project. I've actually already gone the feature that we were supposed to shoot. I've actually already gone back in and I've made some edits on that script. Things that I've learned from this. Just that you can get to things quicker and things like that you don't always necessarily learn in a short, where you have just a much shorter truncated time to tell a story.
Yep.
It already kind of moves much quicker. And with a feature, it weirdly sometimes it moves even quicker. And just learning how much you actually need in the script, how much comes through on the screen, you don't necessarily realize when you're in the scripting stage.
So this is a fun question.
Okay.
So you're walking down the street one day.
Yeah.
Someone randomly gives you a big satchel of money.
Yes.
Is, I don't know, $50 million.
Okay.
$100 million in it.
Sure.
What film do you make?
So there are 3 scripts that are currently ready to go. All genre, the haunted house one, there's a time travel one, another like supernatural thriller. They were all though written for like kind of the low budget arena, because all of those are sort of like trying to be our first feature, right?
Yep.
They're scalable, but probably not $50 to $100 million scalable, right? There's one that I'm actually currently working on now. It's a sci-fi fantasy.
Okay.
I play D&D on the weekends.
Okay.
It's something that has it's a newer thing in my life, but it's something that has really helped me cope in certain ways since Brian's death. I have this great group of friends that we play every Saturday night. Okay. Not tomorrow night because I'll be here. But
might be. There's a lot of people here that would be bang into that.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
probably find some people out here to play. Yeah.
But the D&D is a heavy influence on this script, as well as like this time loop kind of aspect. Okay. And I'm actually one of the people in our D&D group I've become like so close with. We've become great friends over the last couple years, and she and I are actually writing this together. Okay. And so that's the one that I would do. Tentative title of Convergence at this point, but we're still in the scripting stage. So we'll see how if the title sticks.
Okay. Final question, another fun one. It's not a hypothetical scenarios in these questions. Sorry. You're on a desert island.
Uh-huh.
You've got magically a TV,
Okay.
a Blu-ray player,
Okay.
and a nice sofa.
Okay.
Which 3 films let's say horror, if that's okay. As
Okay.
we're at a horror festival.
Yep.
Which 3 horror films are you going to watch until the end of time?
Are we counting Seven by David Fincher as horror, or is that
Yeah,
are we
I would.
thriller? Okay, then
Yeah, I
Seven.
would say, yeah.
Seven.
Yep.
Alien.
Okay, first one. Yeah.
The third one. Listen,
So where's that third one?
the third one. Yes, there's like several in my mind right now that I'm gonna go with 28 Days Later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice picks.
Thank you. Well, actually, unless we count horror comedy, and then the third one would be Shaun of the Dead.
Okay. Oh well, yeah. You need something a bit light, don't you?
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
other ones are quite heavy.
Yeah.
Seven.
Yeah. So
28 Days Later
yeah.
is pretty heavy.
Yeah. So Seven, Alien, Shaun of the Dead would be the 3.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're going horror comedy as well, if that's
Great.
allowed.
Anthony, thank you so much for submitting your film, but most of all for coming.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great effort away from the States. Amazing. Enjoy the rest of your time here. What plans have you got? Have you got any other plans?
It's really just the festival.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can we have a round of applause, please, for Anthony? Thank you.